Exclamation everybody, and welcome back to Cube Ramblings. For me, it is currently Saturday night, July the 25th, 2014, 15? Ooh, okay. Yeah, I've lost apparently a year in there somewhere. July 25th, 2015. You'll be seeing this on Sunday the 26th, as per usual. I hope everybody's been having a great week. I've been quite busy in as far as it goes with games and other things. Don't have a whole lot as far as news goes. There is news here, but it's a lot of like little things. So this is going to be a little bit more free form, this episode, more than anything else, where I just kind of chat and more chat about just random things and stuff that I've been looking at and things that I'm thinking about and all those things. Things, and more things. That is the things that I'm working on, things with things to do other things. So if you're tuned in to the Friday live stream from my new Memory Leak Doom channel, and also I restreamed it to Hitbox and also Twitch, I should say. I played some Rocket League. I had heard the game was a lot of fun to play, and I saw the videos of it, and I was like, you know what? Let me try this. I generally don't try the thing that has become so freaking huge and popular, on the YouTubes and stuff. But every so often, you just gotta give in and play something that looks fun, and that's what I did. And it was. My conclusion on it is a hell of a lot fun to play. Not so much as far as watching someone else play it. I suspect it would be a lot more fun to watch someone else play it if there was, multiple people, if it was like a co-op thing where you had multiple people in the call and you're all chatting back and forth. I could see that probably being more fun to watch than just me playing a bunch of puppies, by myself. But it was still fun. It was a lot of fun to play. There were points where I was getting really excited and trying to, it was stressful in a good way, and it was fun. It was quite a bit of fun. But even after about an hour or so, or an hour and a half or so, I got bored of it. So I suspect it's one of those games where you could pop into it for a half an hour, 45 minutes, and play it, and then probably, put it aside after that, and then come back to it, again, like in these little, half-hour increments or so. It's kind of like in many ways, I feel like it's a mobile game, but it's up on PC. It's not very hard to pick up, but it's also something that I don't see playing for extended periods of time either. It's just something to pass that little time when you're trying to do something else, or you're waiting for something else to happen, or whatever. But other than that, it was a lot of fun. There's a lot of different game modes in it. All kinds of cosmetic things that you earn as you go along. Different hats and stuff. Different hats for your car. So what is Rocket League, I should say? It's a competitive multiplayer soccer game, basically, or football if you want to use the European term for it. And it involves cars with rockets strapped to them, and you can jump your cars and hit the ball. There's a lot of physics involved with it, so you have to try to hit the ball in the center of mass, and it's a giant ball, so if you just run into it straight on, it's not going to move that fast. But if you use your rocket jump, then you can jump up and hit it at the right time. You can flip your car around and have that, hit it, and you can run right up the walls of the arena after it, and all those things. So it's a really fast-paced game. The matches go for 5 minutes apiece, and as it looks like, as you get into the higher tiers, like you start playing some more experienced people, the matches will start to get lower and lower scoring. First couple matches I was in, the scores were just coming, like crazy pants. But then as I was playing some more and start getting different matchups, The games were decided by one goal here or there, or they had a few ties that went into overtime, sudden death overtime, and it was it was getting pretty. It was interesting. I did the whole, turn off all the. It's got in-game voice chat and in-game text chat if you want to use it. But thankfully, you can turn all that off, and that's what I did. I just turned it all off, and in fact, you can't really turn it off entirely because you can turn off other voice chat, but you can't. There's still a push-to-talk button that's on by default. So I went in and made sure to unbind that from the controller, which apparently didn't save between sessions, which was kind of weird, but I just made sure I completely disabled it altogether because I was going to do my own commentary and I didn't want to accidentally push the button and have everybody and their grandmother hearing everything that I'm all my play-by-play and have that get wrecked. But I suspect, like I said, if you are in it, you can team up with a bunch of people and just have like private matches if you want and all that stuff. I suspect it's a heck of a lot of fun if you've got a lot more fun to watch if you've got people in the chat that in the call with you, on TeamSpeak or something like that, just going off and just playing together and just banter and all that stuff. But when you're doing it solo against the internet, it's maybe not as much, maybe not quite as interesting to watch. So, but that was cool. I wanted to try it out. I heard it was a lot of fun. It is a lot of fun to play. So I was very, very cool with that. I allowed me to sort of stretch my legs with the new channel, the new streaming channel. And then I wanted to stream for some more time. So I just went and played some Robot Roller Derby Disco Dodgeball, which is a game that I suck really badly at, and you'll see that I think for a half an hour or so at the end of the stream. I was sucking so bad at it that I was like, you know what, I gotta just end the stream now. I gotta just end the stream because this is painful even for me to sit through. And there weren't that many actual people online either because that game's been out for a while, and there's just not as many people online to play with. It was mostly bots that we're playing with, so oh well with that. But yeah, Rocket League is, as I said, fun to play. Maybe not so much fun to watch, but fun to play. So you might want to take a look at that and pick it up. It's was relatively cheap, I think. I don't remember. I don't exactly remember how much I paid. I saw it on Steam. I was like, you know what? Let me just do this. I'll just do this for myself. I'll do this just to try it out, and we'll see what happens. But it was good. It was very good. Along those same lines, there's a couple other things. So speaking of the whole streaming thing, I kind of want to go off on a tangent a little bit, just a good tangent. It's not nothing negative here, but I've had a lot of thoughts about what I want to do as far as a streaming channel goes. I have I have quite a few MMO games that I have always wanted to sit down and play, but I can't see myself playing them and editing the video together because it just there's a lot of usually dead time, downtime in MMOs and a lot of other stuff, the grinding. You just don't know what you're going to hit. But I feel like it's a perfect genre for the live streaming stuff because, people are kind of used to there being some grindiness and stuff like that. That and RPGs. What I'm finding with The Witcher 3 is that it's, I'll play for 2 hours, and then if I'm lucky, I'll get 3 or 4 episodes out of it, right? Because there's a lot of times where I have to redo things, die often, or just, wandering around the area to try to find new encounters and stuff. So there's a lot of that going on. There's a lot of editing and stuff in that, and I don't necessarily mind the editing. It's just that, and I know this from when I was playing Divinity: Original Sin, There was going to be a lot of editing and stuff, but it does make for a bit of a rough spot as far as trying to find the time to record all that stuff, because I have to sit there. I have to record for 2.5 hours usually to make sure I have enough to hold me through the week, because I'm doing the normal YouTuber schedule of things, which is like every other day for those videos. And I had resisted for a long time doing every other day videos, because I knew it would be a lot of effort up front that I'd have to put into it, and I might not be able to keep up with it. And I'm feeling that now. It feels like my initial thoughts on that were actually correct. It is very difficult to keep up with that, and also do all the other recording and stuff that I do on the channel, and play all the other games I want to play. So in the future, I'm not sure when, but in the future I may end up going back to just twice a week on The Witcher 3, and then make the episodes longer to compensate. Or possibly make them longer. Maybe make them half an hour, 35 minutes rather than 20 minutes, 25 minutes. We'll see. Or I'll just edit even more out of them, which, right now I'm leaving, even though they're 25-minute videos, I'm leaving, some travel and stuff in there, some downtime in them, just because it's, if you're going to have one every other day, then that feels like it's more acceptable. But if you're going to have just 2 a week, then it feels like I should target them even further and say, like, no, here's all the fluff is removed, or most of the fluff is removed. So we'll see on that. I'm going to keep going every other day for now, and then we'll see what happens. As far as Dishonored goes, I have the final 2 episodes of the Knife of Dunwall all scheduled and uploaded to YouTube. I have another hour or so where I've started the Brigmore Witches DLC, so we'll be getting that. You'll be getting that right after the Knife of Dunwall stuff is done, so that'll be next weekend. You'll be getting that. And once that is done, I'm probably not going to replace anything in that time slots. I'll probably just move up. What do I have at 2:30 on that? I have. It's not The Witcher. I have. I can't remember off the top of my head now. It's. Driver San Francisco. Yeah, that's what it is. I'll probably move Driver San Francisco up to the. I'll probably move that up to the 2:30, or I'm sorry, to the 10:30 slot once Dishonored is done, and then that'll be the only thing on Monday and on Saturday and Monday going forward. I'm just gonna let some of these things run out, and then just to give myself a little bit more wiggle room as far as doing some streaming and being able to do some more research and stuff about some of these other indie games that are coming out. So I'm starting to let some of those things, not renew those time slots with new things, just for a little while, just until I can figure out my own schedule and try to get some stuff recorded and everything else. So that's what's going on with that. And then once Driver San Francisco is done, which is going to take a while, I'll look to see what else I want to put in that time slot. I haven't made any decisions yet. There are some older games that I've been looking at, and I'm trying to figure out which one I want to play first, because I keep coming back to the fact that I really want to get a Star Trek game on my channel, and I was really thinking about just doing Starfleet Command, but then I have others that I could also play. Like I have Birth of the Federation, which I should work. I also have Away Team, which hopefully I can get past the first episode of that, or the first chapter of that, because every time towards the end of that chapter it always crashes and then it doesn't save, so you end up having to replay it. So we'll have to see if I could get past that. But I haven't done any recording in that stuff yet. I was just testing it out in my virtual machine. But yeah, so I got those possibilities there. But getting back to the original topic here, the original tangent or whatever I'm going off on. As far as what do I want to do when it comes to streaming? Obviously, I've already mentioned I want to do some research streams, but they may be very limited research streams because some of the research I do, I like to be able to play the game off camera first to see if it's something I'm going to like, because I don't want to have the video go up and me be like, yeah, this sucks, right? Without, you know, a completely unfiltered me saying this sucks, right? It's one thing to have played it enough to say, oh no, these are parts I don't like. It's another thing to play 2 minutes of it and go, yeah, I'm not getting any of this, and I'm gonna just put this away right now. And that's what I'm afraid of, because I do that sometimes. Sometimes I'll start a game up and it'll just be kind of obtuse at the very beginning. And I'm like, I'm not getting this right now. I gotta put this away and try again later. So that's why I try to do at least some of the research, if not most of it, off camera. But I will occasionally do some research streams on camera. Or, you know, even if I might even do like a side quest video on camera as a live stream if it's a game that I feel like lends itself better to a live stream than to an edited video, say. But that'll be, all those things are things that I'm still investigating. So some of the ideas for games that I'd like to play as a stream, I'd like to play some RPG games, and I've got quite a few here. I've got Shadowrun, and I've got almost all the expansions. In fact, I have some news here about the next Shadowrun expansion, Hong Kong. But I want to try, I've got Shadowrun, and I've got Shadowrun Dragonfall, Director's Cut. So I've got all that stuff, and I haven't played it. I've only played maybe 5 minutes of it, so I have no real concept of the game yet. It's a universe that I've never, it was like a board game universe, I think, and I never got into the board games. I was never, you know, I never really in tune with board games anyway, but that one, so I don't know the universe. It's kind of intimidating, right? Because I've watched some YouTube videos of Shadowrun, like from some brief ones, and the one I was watching was the guy knew everything about the Shadowrun universe inside and out. He's given all these good explanations. Like, okay, I feel wholly inadequate now to do a video on this. But that said, I might do a live stream of it. I would like to revisit the Knights of the Old Republic games, which I have some news on one of those. Specifically, I've never played KOTOR 1, and I have it. And I have played KOTOR 2, but I never finished it. And I would like to go back and revisit those, and actually maybe if I'm recording them, maybe, or live streaming them, maybe I will actually finish them at some point. That would be really cool, I think. So I've been wanting to do that. The challenge there, and the reason I kind of shudder a little bit when I think about live streaming a Star Wars game, is the music. You know, when I'm live streaming on YouTube, they still have Content ID running, and they will terminate the stream if I don't silence the copywritten stuff as it comes through. But you get a warning about it, I think, and you get a few minutes to go and fix it, and, you know, do whatever you got to do. So that's the only reason why I hesitate to do Star Wars games anymore, because knowing from what I know with the Republic Commando stuff, like, you know, the best part of Star Wars games is the music, and that's also the worst part when you're trying to put videos up, because it will, like, even just 2 beats of it that are not, you know, muddied out in the audio is enough for it to say, oh, this is copywritten by, you know, LucasArts or whatever, or you know, whatever the composer, John Williams, you know, composer, you know, all that stuff, and it just makes for it makes it a pain to deal with. but at the same time, I really enjoy those games. So I want to do them. And I just need to make sure I do them right when I do them in the live stream, which means pretty much turning the music off whenever possible. Pretty much to that effect. So those are a few of the things. Also, there's an RPG coming out that is not yet out yet. It'll be in August sometime, I think, called Satellite Rain. And I was actually playing a little bit of that this morning. I was doing a little tutorial at the beginning, and that looks like it's going to be interesting. So I may end up doing that completely on a live stream, and that'll be sort of a side quest, plus whatever on a live stream, because I feel like that kind of an RPG thing would be a good thing for that. And of course, I'm still holding fast the idea that my streams are going to be whatever I feel like playing at the time. So, I might, one stream might be 2 hours of me playing Satellite Rain, and then the next stream might be me 2 hours playing Rocket League or something. Whatever other game I feel like playing. It's just going to be whatever I feel like playing, I'm going to play. And then hopefully, eventually, I'll be able to get through a bunch of those RPGs. Because knowing me, I will revisit the RPGs quite a bit. It's just whenever I feel like I'm not into it, I won't do it. I'll just play something else. And hopefully that won't be too jarring. But, the nice thing about doing the streaming on YouTube is that you still have all the benefits of YouTube. So you've got playlists and all that stuff, which you don't get really on any of the other streaming systems. So I could just set up playlists for, here's, the live streams of me playing Satellite Rain. And then whenever I actually do one, it'll just be automatically put into the playlist, and then if you're following the playlist, then bam, there you go. you can easily get to that stuff later and catch up on it. So that's why I'm kind of excited about the way about YouTube actually starting to embrace that a little bit. So yeah, RPGs, and then also MMO games. I want to actually start to try to play on streams. So I have a couple MMOs that I'm looking at. I have not looked at what is this one called? It's I have it right here on the desktop if I can move this out of the way. Skyforge. Skyforge has gotten a bunch of press recently, and I have access to it, but I have not actually gone in there yet and played the early access version of it. So I'd like to get in there and take a look at it. I hear it's pretty cool. So I want to look at that. And also I have early access to that I bought into for the repopulation. I think I mentioned this once before too. It's sort of a Star Wars Galaxy XS MMO RPG. And I haven't had a chance even to sit down and play it at all, and I've had it for a couple months now, and I just there hasn't been a forum for me to do it in, and I feel like a live stream would be a good time to do that stuff. So I'd like to do that. Also, at some point in time, I would like to actually go revisit Star Trek Online. It's I'm not going to be starting it from the beginning, because I have a ship and a character that's pretty. It's not high level, but I'm leveled up enough that I'm in a decent ship, and I would like to re-pick that up at some point and just see what's going on in there. They've had a few things going on, like Dominion Wars, expansion packs and stuff like that. So I would like to see what has happened since I last played it. About when did I last play it? Like 2 years ago or something like that. It had to be. So I would like to get back into that. And yeah, those are some of the ideas for the streams I'll be doing in the future. And those will also be, Friday streams as well. Although on Fridays, I tend to want to play more action-packed stuff. So we'll see where these fall into play. Again, it comes down to when I have time. And that's why I haven't been sort of, once I get through some of these games that I have now, some of the series that I have now, I might not put something else in their slot. I might just let that slot be empty so I can focus on doing some streaming during the week. It's hard for me to do streaming. I want to do it on the weekends too, but it's difficult, especially on Saturdays. I was going to do it today. I was going to do a stream today, and I'm like, I can't do it. I got it. There's too many things I had to record. I had to record The Witcher 3 for the week, which I got about 2 hours of that recorded. I had to do some chores around the house, obviously, because it's the only time I get to do it. That and Sunday. Sunday is really my chores day, but I had to do a few today, and then and then I have to do a couple hours to get all the news, go through all the news, and try to get information and stuff to set up for this here, for Cube Ramblings. This actually takes about, I'd say, 3.5 to 4 hours to prep for, even though it's completely off the cuff, and I don't have anything written down other than just some bullet points here and some links that I take a look at as I'm talking to you. But still, it does take a while. Plus, I have to record the footage that you're seeing. So I have to record about an hour of that. So I'll record that with my headphones off while I'm listening to, and I'll be listening to some other Let's Players doing their thing that I follow. And then then after about an hour, I'm like, okay, I've probably got enough footage. And then I sit down here and I go through all the news that I've got. I've got a whole spreadsheet here of stuff, bullet points of things I should talk about at some point, possibly. Although there's stuff on here from February still, like Neon Structed, Sublevel Zero, and things which I'd have to look at their links again to remember what they were. It's been so long. But I do I occasionally call those out and say, like, yeah, these are old enough now that I'll just wait on those. But I mean, literally there are things here from February and I think even some things from January still that I haven't gotten to. I just keep adding things onto the bottom and then hiding the other columns. What are we up to here? I'm at row 471 now, I think. In this spreadsheet that continues to grow. So that's kind of what I'm thinking as far as the live streaming goes. The MMOs and the RPGs, I feel like, are the best candidates for that, because then that frees me up to not have to do too much editing with those. And I'm not even sure how I would edit an MMO to make it interesting, right? Because I guess I would edit it the same way I'd edit, an RPG, but still, I feel like there would be weird things there I wouldn't be able to edit for it. So those, I think, are going to be primarily the things that I live stream, and I will still do a lot of action-packed things as well. Any 2D side scrollers or anything else I come across that I feel like playing. Just for the sake of playing it. Again, it's just going to be, I'm going to play whatever I feel like playing at the time that I feel like playing it. So there you go. That's the live streaming stuff that I'm thinking of. As far as the YouTube channel goes, that will be for the there'll still be plenty of series going on my YouTube channel. I'm just sort of getting it to a point where there's maybe only one video a day, maybe 2 videos a day. And I'm just kind of letting it simmer there. I had it at a point where I was getting like 2 or 3 videos a day, and I still do occasionally have 3 videos a day. I'm just going to let that sort of mellow out and just be more closer to just 1 video a day as I can. And I want to also make sure that I continue to do side quest videos, because I think there's been some positive reaction to those. I know the last couple of side quest videos I did were just me just playing the game from the very beginning with not a whole lot of insight or knowledge into the game. But that's usually because either the game speaks for itself or it's just a demo and you're going to get out of it what you're going to get out of it. Right? So it's not something that I can do much about other than here's the demo, here's what the demo looks like. Put this on your radar if you like what you see here. So that's where I've been with that. Speaking of early access and demos and all those things, there are there's actually 2 games that I'd like to talk about a little bit that are on Kickstarter right now that I think are really cool games. The first one is called XO, and I've talked about this before a little bit, but the more I see about it, the more I videos I see, the more information I get on it, the more I'm loving it. And it's a space game. It's I would say somewhat roguelike, but not really. It has some of the trappings of it. Like if you look at FTL and you're like, oh, I gotta jump between nodes and all that stuff, it's got that. But you choose what nodes to go to, what nodes to jump to. And it more resembles a Battlestar Galactica-esque game than anything else. They're going specifically with a very stylistic choice and not, instead of having flat shaded, or not flat shaded, but textured polygons and all that stuff. They're not doing any of that. They're going to just do straight up wireframe, sort of flat shaded, polygonal starships, and the whole thing is going to take place on sort of it's like you're looking at the battlefield, or you're looking at the sector of space through the tactical map. If you're familiar with Homeworld and games like that, when you go into the tactical map, it's like this wireframe thing, and you've got all the pings on the map where stuff is going on, and you can see all the whole battlefield. And when you come out of that, you only see a very small portion of around your ships and all that stuff. This one is going to take place completely in that sort of battlefield, wireframe mock-up thing. And I think it's a really good idea, because it looks it's not going to blow you away in terms of look, but it does give a very cool vibe off, and it's got the things that you would want to see if there was a fleet management game that took place in the Battlestar Galactica universe. This has some of the features of what you would expect from something like that. Even though this has nothing to do with Battlestar Galactica, it still feels like it could easily, the engine could easily be for that. You've got your main mothership, and then you've got civilian freighter or civilian cruise liners, and you've got mining rigs and ships, and all kinds of support ships. They have something like 13 ships now, 13 different ships that you can have. You've got gunships for the military stuff, and you've got an entire ship that is for capturing other ships, that have been disabled, and there's also healing ships and things of that nature. So it's very cool. I guess in some ways, it's also similar to that game called Convoy. There was a little indie game called Convoy, where you were a convoy of trucks trying to get across some alien desert, and you're coming across random encounters and those kinds of things. It's very, very similar to that, only in space, and you are trying to ferry the last remnants of mankind to a new home, trying to find a new home, and you're being relentlessly pursued by some aliens that don't destroy the ships. They capture your ships and then make them part of their own fleet, and so they'll turn around and use them against you later on. They're sort of this weird. They don't destroy civilizations. They absorb them and make them part. It's almost like the Borg. Almost, they make them part of their own collective, sort of. So it's I like very much what I see there, and they're doing really well on Kickstarter. Last I saw, they were over 50% of their way to their goal, and they're only a few days into it. So I would highly encourage everyone to. I'll leave a link to their IndieDB entry so that you can see what their current development is and get all the information about it and some videos on there. And then I think they have a link to their Kickstarter there. I hope they do anyway. But if all that sounds intriguing and interesting and something that would be a lot of fun to you, I would highly recommend you go over and just give them $15 or something on Kickstarter and just give them that little push they need to see this thing become a reality. They were also part of the Square Enix Collective, which I don't know what benefits that bestows on them. I don't know if Square Enix pitches in money or resources. I don't know what that does for them. I know that they were on there and they were gathering support, and they actually got all the votes that they needed to get on that. So I don't know what that all entails, but it's there. It's another part of it. So that's cool. That's XO. Go take a look at that. Another one that is struggling in its Kickstarter right now. I think it only has 10 days left. It's a card game, and I'm starting to warm up to the card games a little bit. But it's a card game with sort of a rogue. Well, I keep saying roguelike, but to be honest with you, everything would be roguelike to me if I given the opportunity, just because the criteria for it is kind of weird, and everybody sort of borrows from it a little bit here and there. But it's a card game. It's a sci-fi card game. The idea is that you have a spaceship, and you gotta manage the spaceship, but everything you do is based on cards that you draw, and you are running this intergalactic food truck, searching out all the various places, all the various nodes on the star map, to find ingredients to make these epic dishes and cuisines that you can then sell and make a boatload of money as your intergalactic space truck. And it looks the art style of it is really, really nice from what I can see in their screenshots. And it's one of those, intriguing little games that sort of melds different genres together. It's all card based, and you're pulling cards for stuff, and then you pick which cards to play in order to overcome whatever challenges you're in at the moment, whatever random encounters you faced, and so on and so forth. And it feels like one of those things that needs to live. It deserves a chance at life, I would say. But they are well short, I think, of their Kickstarter right now. I think there's only 10 days left as of right now, Saturday night. But I think they need like 35, I think is what they're looking for, and I think they're only at $6,000. So yeah, but I say they're far short, but then I know for a fact that the last 48 hours tends to be the time when everybody is jumping on stuff. And I would just say, go take a look at it. I'll leave a link to it, Space Food Truck. And I will, and then you can just see if it fancies your twinkles. It cuddles your cockles of your heart, or whatever the phrase is that will not enter into my brain for some reason. I just wanted to point that one out because I feel like there are some interesting concept games out there that just deserve to be made, even if they end up just sucking. It deserves to see. It deserves to have some eyeballs on it, basically. And I feel like that's the case with this one. And I'm not a big card game guy either, but I have been running into a lot of card games recently that are all sort of plays on the same theme, but doing something different. And it's kind of interesting to watch, honestly. I don't know. I don't know all the ins and outs of card games and stuff, and I as always, I suck at everything. But I can imagine that if there's people who like the casual card games, not the competitive ones, we're having a bit of a renaissance in that. I would say there's a lot of more casual card games out there, and there's a lot of competitive ones that are showing up too. But it's just I'm more interested in the casual stuff. The competitive scene is one that I would never do well on, because I'm 34 and my reflexes are only going to get worse as time goes on. It's kind of a weird phenomenon, maybe not weird phenomenon, but it's a phenomenon that not too many people talk about really. Is that you see a lot of these esports people and even regular sports people, like they get to a certain age and they just can't compete anymore because their reflexes aren't as good as they used to be. And there's quite a few esports people who they got up into their 30s and they're just like, yeah, I can't compete with the younger people in their 20s because their button mashing skills are far superior to my own. Even though I was, if you had faced them down 10 years ago, you probably wiped the floor with them, but not anymore. Not anymore. And my reflexes were never really good to begin with, so I've always struggled with that stuff. I've never been much for the competitive scene of things, mostly because I just enjoy games. Even if I'm losing, I tend to enjoy games. Although I get frustrated. You'll see some of that frustration in Rocket League when I'm just I lose a few things in a row, and then I make all these mistakes. I shot on my own goal and all kinds of things. So I get the normal frustrations that people get, but I'm still enjoying the hell out of it, even when I'm losing. So the whole competitive scene has never been one that I've quite understood, because I don't understand getting upset about losing something. Even if you've put so much time into it, I can see getting frustrated by it, but I can't see it being, I hate this game now because I can't win. It's more like, oh well, I couldn't win. Somebody was better. So I don't want to get too much into that because that's way off the beaten path as far as topics that I have here. But this is my thoughts as always. I had mentioned a little bit earlier Dishonored. Dishonored, the definitive edition was announced back at E3, right after they announced Dishonored 2. So I don't know how many people were actually still listening, but there were a few, I imagine. And the definitive edition is a remake of Dishonored 1. It includes all the DLC, and it's improved all the graphics of the game. And it does need it. Having played the Dishonored as it is on the PC, it is pretty dated as far as graphical wise, which is fine for me because I can easily get 30 frames a second out of it with my computer being what it is. But yeah, I can see it could do with some overhauls there. But that will be coming out. I believe they just announced a date for it. I don't know exactly what date it's supposed to be. I didn't write it down, unfortunately. Do I have? Oh, wait. Here we go. I believe it is. Okay, it's coming out the 25th of August on 25th of August in North America. For PS4 and Xbox One. They're doing those first. and then the PC version will come a little bit later after that, and it'll be August 28th in Europe for those. So if you have Dishonored in the on the Xbox One or on the PS4, you'll be able to upgrade to that. You have to buy it, but you'll be able to upgrade for half price, looks like. It says here, blah, 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 PS4 version is half off. It's usual $40 if you own the original game. So if you own the original game on PSN, on PS4, and the same on Xbox One, you can get it for half price. You can get the definitive edition for half price on those consoles. And that way you'll be able to enjoy the remaster plus all the DLC. So if you didn't get any of the DLC when it came out, then you'll end up getting to play the Brigmore Witches and the Knife of Dunwall, and not necessarily in that order for those games. And I was looking at some videos of the graphics, and they do actually improve the graphics quite a bit. They're still, I think, like in the character models, it still looks like they're a little bit low poly, but there's only so much you can do, and it's something that they're releasing as a way to sort of placate us while we wait for Dishonored 2 to come out. So there you go. That is that. I'll leave a link to yourgamer.net, which gives you that information that I just talked about there. You may have seen some videos going around from other YouTubers, like say Paul Soares Jr., of a game called Empyrion Galactic Survival. This is a sandbox, open world, open universe, really, sandbox. Very similar to the Minecrafts and the walking simulators and all that stuff. But it's got a sci-fi theme. You build ships block by block. It is similar to Space Engineers, only it's already ahead of Space Engineers because it's already got the planet side landing and all that stuff. You can build outposts on the planets, collect resources, fight the indigenous wildlife, and so on and so forth. And I believe there's several different planets, several different planet types in the universe that you could that you land on and then build mining refineries on to get the resources that you need, and you can bring them back with you and do whatever you got to do. So that's been going around. That will be coming out on Steam Early Access on August the 5th. It actually had a failed Kickstarter. I was one of the few that contributed to the Kickstarter that failed, and Paul Soares Jr. mentions this in his video. Because we were part of the original Kickstarter backers that failed, we were given the opportunity to go out and purchase it early, purchase the early access early, and start it up. But they only had their store up for that for I think like a week, and I forgot. And I've been kicking myself in the pants ever since, because I wanted to go and pick that up from their store since I had the opportunity to do it, and it completely slipped my mind. So I'm not going to be able to pick up the game until it comes out in early August, in early August on early access on Steam. They are Steam greenlit and all that stuff. So yeah, you might want to keep your eyes peeled for Empyrion Galactic Survival. I'm going to link you to IndieDB because that has a lot of information on it, and you'll be able to get up to speed on what all you can do in there. I like the fact that they're already like way ahead of. It feels like they're already way ahead of Space Engineers in many ways, though they are still a completely different animal. It does have a bit of a what is that other game, Subnautica? It has a bit of a Subnautica feel to it, but again, it stands on its own still, from what I can tell. But there you go. And you might as well just go over, if you want to see videos of it, I would recommend you go over and look at Paul Soares Jr. He just recently did a video this week of it, and you can get a better idea of how things work in there and collecting oxygen and all that stuff. So unfortunately, I won't have my hands on it until August, but that is the way the cookie crumbles. If you don't jump on those emails fast. If you don't jump on those emails fast, you lose out. But there you go. Some more updates too to other games that I have played and that I'm waiting on. Interstellar Rift just had an additional update. I did a video on that a little while ago. I'm really liking that game. The update in this one, I mentioned in the side quest video that they have shield generators and stuff. Apparently the shield generators weren't actually working yet. They now are. So shield generators will actually generate a shield. Your ships will actually take damage now too. So as you're flying through asteroids, right now the only thing you can take damage from is asteroids if you run into them. And the shields will help mitigate that damage. So the shields will bounce any of those asteroids off of you. But each time the shields take a hit, they will reduce in energy, and they have to get initialized, or not reinitialized, but recharged. So there's also shield generator. The shield generators are working now. Also the storage tanks, not storage tanks, but the energy storage things. I forget what they call them, capacitors or whatever. They have been tweaked slightly to where they will recharge themselves. So now, if you use a solar panel, the solar panels will actually work somewhat better now, because you can link them to the energy, to the batteries, and the batteries will recharge slowly as they go along, and they don't discharge fully now. What it used to be is you would put them in the ship, and those things would, the energy would just discharge out of them completely, for whatever load is needed, and then you had to fill it up completely. Now it's more of it'll take as much as it needs. The systems that are linked to it will take as much as they need, and then the rest will start to regenerate as needed. So that'll help out with the shields and all that stuff. So that game looks, I'm waiting for a little while longer before I really get into the game, but I can see myself losing a lot of time into there. I can see that being almost another Minecraft for me, because I'm just, something about that game has me hooked, and I think it's the idea that I can build stuff up front, and then all I gotta do is go grind for the resources. And it's not even really that much of a grind. It's more of I gotta run back and forth, putting stuff here and there. And if I build a ship that's got that stuff together, maybe it'll be easier to just run back and forth, doing what I want to do. So I got all of that together. I feel like I heard something. I feel like I heard somebody at the front door, coming through the door here. Hopefully not, because I am as far away from the front door as I could be right now. But yeah, that's Interstellar Rift just had that update. So I'll try to keep you guys up to date with that as I do things, as more updates come out and there's more information about the game. I might do some little side quest extra things where I go back and just give you some more extra information on it. Also, another game that I have not revisited for a while, Signs of Life. Signs of Life just had a recent update. I think they're at 0.5 now, and it adds multiplayer to the game. So before it was just all a single player experience. It's Signs of Life. For those of you who don't know, it's a Terraria alike, with a sci-fi theme around it. So it's closer. I would say it's closer to Terraria than it is to Starbound, but it has some of the pieces of Starbound in there. It's got the sci-fi stuff in it. You build these sci-fi things. You have, even though you go around initially with swords and knives and all that stuff, you do eventually have blasters and all lasers and laser guns and all that stuff, and rocket launchers and various other things. It's also, you know, they've added some more monsters to the game. If you're still struggling to figure out what game I'm talking about, just think to yourself, giant robot chicken. It's the game that I fought a giant robot chicken in and managed to get him to fly away, but didn't actually destroy him. So that game is what I'm talking about, because that's how I remember it in my head. I'm like, oh, Signs of Life, that was the giant robot chicken game, right? Yep. So that's cool. I'll link you to their IndieDB site that gives you more information on their updates that have been going on. So that's still making progress. So it's good to see, you know, a lot of these games, you know, I hit them up very early in the early access cycle, and then I you know, months go by and I go back and I go through my list and I'm like, you know, I'm thinking about stuff. I'm like, I wonder whatever happened to that, or whatever happened to this, I wonder whatever happened to that. And I have to go out and looking, and I'm like, oh wow, they've had like 3 different updates now, and oh, this is really cool. Like, I can't possibly keep up to date with everything that's going on with all the individual, you know, communities that are going into there and all that stuff. But it's, you know, it's good to see things still having information coming down and still moving forward. Unlike possibly the video that you're watching right now, the game in the video that you're watching right now. It's nice to see progress updates and things going forward and new stuff coming down, and it warms my heart quite a bit. I also mentioned a little bit earlier when I was talking about live streaming, Shadowrun. There's more information on the new Shadowrun Hong Kong expansion. That is coming now August the 20th. I have Shadowrun Returns, and I have Shadowrun Definitive Edition, not Definitive, Dragonfall, whatever it was, Director's Edition. I have those two. I will probably pick up Shadowrun Hong Kong, because even though I haven't played the game at all yet, I might as well have the full. I might as well have the full series, this full remake series as it is, because I believe Shadowrun was a game back in the day, and that's why I said Shadowrun Rebirth or Reborn or whatever it was. So yeah, that's coming out again. As I told you a little bit earlier in this video, lots of little news, not a whole lot of additional news other than that. And what's other little news? So Summer Games Done Quick. Summer Games Done Quick is going to be starting today when you're seeing this video, Sunday. What is it for me? I'm 5 minutes away from Sunday, so I'll say it's starting today on the 26th of July here. Sunday, July 26th. It will be going for 7 days. I'll link it to an article that gives you a link to their website and the schedule of all the games that are getting played. For those unaware, Summer Games Done Quick is speedrunning mostly through classic games, although they do tend to have some newer games that they also speedrun through. And you might be saying to yourself, well, why would I watch that? But it's actually, I have watched it, and it's actually a lot of fun to watch. It can be a little bit cringy at times, because they're very, you know, for an old guy like me, they're very meme-tastic, and it can be a little bit cringy when they get on there and they start just, you know, I'm like, I don't know what they're talking about right now. Kill the animals, don't kill the animals. I don't know what that is. That's some kind of in-joke. So there is some in-jokes in there, but if you tune in for the actual video game run-throughs, and they usually upload all of them to their YouTube channel as well. I think their YouTube channel is Speed Demos Archive, I think is their YouTube channel. And I've watched a bunch of things from that too. They upload that after the Twitch stream, and you can sit there and just kind of watch them just absolutely amaze you as they just go through these games at ridiculous speeds, and just they have all that, they know all the glitches, and they know all the ways to get through a game faster than you're supposed to ever get through it. I think the impressive thing was I saw the other day, I just watched them get through Diablo 1, the very first Diablo, in like 12 minutes, which I for a game that the one thing about Diablo was that all the dungeons were randomly generated. This was procedural generation. You know, for people that are like, oh, I don't like all this procedural generation that's going on. Like, dude, procedural generation's been around since Diablo 1. Diablo 1 used to procedurally generate its dungeons, and they managed to get a good seed on this run through where all the steps, all the different steps, staircases were right next to one another, and they were able to just run between them without getting any enemies along the way. And then they used a nice little duplicate weapon exploit and a few other things, and they're able to defeat first Diablo in 12 minutes. It was amazing. It's amazing because people that are running these speed runs, they've been playing these games for years and thousands of times over, usually, just to get the right runs and just to get the timing right and all the dexterity needed to do that, and just it impresses and amazes me because I have no dexterity at all. I have none whatsoever. I have proven that in Rocket League. I have no hand-eye coordination to save my ass, and these guys just make it look easy, and it's great. It's a great little thing to watch. It's entertaining. I wouldn't, it's not something you can watch multiple hours of. There are some, speed runs that do take over an hour or more to do. Some of them that take 10 hours to do because that's the quickest they can do. But it's still a very if you can tune in for little bits and pieces here and there, it's a really cool thing. And it's even cooler when I think last year, or was it? I think it was Awesome Games Done Quick, the winter time. I think it was last year. I was watching one stream, and I forget the name of the game. It was a 2D platformer that they were running through, and the devs of the game were on the chat with them, or Skype chatting with them while they were doing it, and they were watching it, and it was pretty funny to hear the banter back and forth, like, oh yeah, we found this bug here and we were able to exploit this, and you hear devs on the other end going, well, that's cheating. You're a big cheater. It was just out of good fun. And then, a lot of times you'll hear the devs, donate to the cause. And I think the cause that they've been donating to recently, the last couple ones, has been Doctors Without Borders, I think. So it's basically a 7-day charity event. All the proceeds go to whatever charity that they're doing. And I think it's Doctors Without Borders this time around. So it's just, it's good fun. And it's, if you can't watch I probably couldn't watch the whole thing, but you can watch little bits and pieces here and there. And it's, it's an interesting thing. It's very interesting to sit there and watch and be a part of. It's very cool. I am constantly in awe of those people, of those guys there and gals. They're really excellent at what they do. And speaking of Twitch, which is where they stream all that stuff to, Twitch is also switching to HTML5. They're finally getting rid of their Flash players. They're slowly switching over to HTML5. I think it's only going to be on the channel pages for right now, and then eventually it'll be site-wide. And let me tell you, it's been a long time coming for Flash to finally die. I've wanted Flash. I think, as most people have, we've all wanted Flash to die for a very long time now, and it's nice to see it finally going, because it's always been a pain in the neck to deal with, and it's about time. It's about time that we were getting away from that. It served its purpose. even though it was still painful to deal with, it served its purpose. But it's long in the tooth, and it's time to go. It's time to kick it out, kick it to the curb. Which reminds me, I'm wondering, is Newgrounds still around? Because I remember years and years ago, I remember frequenting Newgrounds all the time for all the various Flash games and mostly for the videos. A lot of people would do like animations on there, and I would watch a lot of the animations. In fact, that's where I saw Press Start, which is one of the animation groups that they had there. In fact, I have a video. They went and made a live action video of it. It was a video game parody that they were doing as an animation. So they had like, they had the Mario plumbers in it, but they were called different names, and they had, vampire, what's his name? I forget, Vampire Hunter and all that stuff. And Dracula, but it wasn't Dracula. He had some other name. He was the bad guy, and it was fun. It was a little comedy thing. And then they made a fan, short film on it, which it's cringeworthy to look at, but it's still, I felt the need to encourage them by buying that DVD and and just say, hey, you know what? If you're going to go out and do all the work necessary to make a fan film, then here's my money. On something that I like anyway, not just any fan film. I can already hear the Twitter bots favoriting me already here. Oh, here's a fan film you should take a look at. Like, let me tell you about Twitter bots. I actually just, for the first time ever on Twitter, I've actually blocked 2 bots that were they weren't being a pain in the neck. They were just being, it was just bothering me. They're like YouTube bots. There's like one called like OMG YouTube, and there's another one called YouTube favorite something. I don't know what it was, but they're just bots that go around and just randomly pick videos that have been tweeted and they retweet it. Like, oh, is this your video? And then they put a link in there, right? And it's a bit.ly link, and it's a paid bit.ly link. It's one of those ones that has advertisements on it. So every time some unwitting person clicks on that person, that bot, whoever owns that bot's getting money from advertisement. I'm like, oh, that's the shadiest crap I've ever seen in my life. So I just went and blocked them. I have to look through the Twitter terms and see if they have something where I can just report them, but I don't know if I don't know if you can or not. I don't know if they're actually breaking any rules other than just being idiots. Other than just trying to get money for nothing. Damn money grubbers. That was kind of pissed me off. I'm like, what is this thing? And I looked at it, and it's like, oh, I get it. I get what's going on there. But anyway, tangent. Off on yet another tangent. Let's go look at the tangent. Oh, what are we doing on time here? I think, oh yeah, we're getting close. My friends. All right. I think there's other things on my list as always. Like I said, there's things going all the way back to February on here. But I think I've talked enough for one night, I would say, since it's just switched over. We're 5 minutes into past midnight now, and I think I've done enough. I think I've done enough for one episode. So thanks so much, everybody, for watching, and I will see you next Sunday.